Discerning truth in a sea of lies. Live from Kalispell, Montana, it's Critical Disclosure Radio with your host, Jim White.
Okay, I'm your host, James White. This is Critical Disclosure Radio. Thanks so much for joining me here today on this 23rd day of March 2022. We are coming to you live from Kalispell, Montana, and we are being hosted by Brighteon Radio. As you can see, the new little Brighteon Radio thing for those on the video, they sent that out here a couple days ago, I think yesterday or the day before, and we put that on our screen to give a shout out there to Brighteon Radio, because we appreciate them hosting our site. We are waiting for our guest to arrive. Let me turn this on here. We are waiting for our guest to arrive. Sorry about that. Their Telegram folks, you didn't miss much. I just got a chance to turn the audio on. We are waiting our guest. She is at the library there, I believe, in Ohio, and she is trying to connect at the library. She had to rent a room at the library, and we are waiting for her. I talked to her earlier. I believe she sent the documentation that she is wants to send over. They did. It came right from the library. We are going to have Lynn Morgan on the broadcast here as soon as she connects with us, and we're going to highlight her, pardon me, her trials and tribulations and troubles there in Trumbull County, Ohio, and it's a family court issue, folks, and we've covered family court on this broadcast numerous times, and we are going to be doing that more and more as time goes forward, because it's a serious issue, and I can't stress enough how important that the review of and or restructuring of, or something's got to happen here with this family court, DPHHS, DFS, whatever it's called in your neighborhood. It's called a variety of different things, but the bottom line is they're the folks that show up and take your children from you, really oftentimes without even due process, which is it's dastardly. It's destroying families all across the country and here in Montana as well. It sounds like that's our guest calling in here. Hold on a second. Okay, folks, I'm not sure if our guest is going to be able to make it here today, and if she doesn't, that's okay. We'll reschedule her, and I'll just cover some news articles and stuff that I already have loaded. I know that she was having trouble earlier. She was having a little trouble earlier, so I anticipated that she might have a problem getting on. So I've got ready to cover news stories. If she happens to show up, we will cover her. We'll cover her story, and if she doesn't, then we'll have to reschedule. So sorry about that, folks. Sometimes things with guests don't actually work out the way that you want them to, but that's technology. I know that she has she had to go, as I said, go out to outside her home to get on the internet and to get connected. So these things sometimes happen. Nonetheless, I haven't really had a chance to cover the news much lately anyway. If you are in Montana, I will have a 1 p.m. live show with Constance Newman today, a live interview with her here in studio. And you're certainly, it's going to be on this channel, most probably whatever channel you're listening to. I say I'm not going to put it on Twitch. Otherwise, it's going to be on all these other channels that I'm broadcasting to. Now, we are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we do appreciate you joining here and joining the show or listening into the show. If you want to find out all the different platforms that we publish on and where you can find our stuff, you can go to libertylinks.io/Jim's libertylinks.io/Jim's links, and you can connect to everything we've got going on. There's also a button there for you to support the show. We're an independent news outlet here. We don't have any military industrial complex funding or anything like that. So if it's on your heart to help us out, go to libertylinks.io/Jim's link and just click on the support the show. It goes to Give, Send, Go. I mean, after the I had a Give Send Go account before the debacle in Canada when what's the name of that other GoFundMe when they pretty much took off with all that cash. That was a bummer. But we're just not going to support them any longer because of the things that they do, and that's one of the ways that we can. That's one of the ways that we can fight back, folks, in that sense, or push back at least, is to not honor these unpatriotic, tyrannical corporations that, practice tyranny. How else to put it? Okay, we're gonna. I don't really have any, specific, any specific stories brought up here. I just have the general news page. So some of these things I'll be sort of reviewing with you for the first time here. But this is what you have to do, and you sort of, the show must go on, as they say, whether the guest shows up or not. So let's go over here and check out what's going on at Zero Hedge. That's probably the website that I visit first, maybe in the morning. I would suspect is Zero Hedge, because I believe that they're, no place is perfect, of course, but they certainly. They certainly, hold on, what I got going on here? Okay, I was seeing if I had my guests texting me. Certainly do their best at putting up, I think, proper news. So there's one thing here that I'm not sure if you saw this. What happened is, was a couple things here. So Twitter suspends the head of the Babylon Bee, the CEO, I forget his name now, Seth Dillon. They first suspend the Babylon Bee account. I think he goes on, does an interview, and then they suspend his account. He went on Tucker Carlson's show Monday night to speak about the original suspension, and then they suspended his personal account as well. This is a sign, really, folks, of desperation by these so-called leaders, these people that are in charge here. For now, they're in charge for now. They still control a lot, unfortunately, but. This is a sign, I believe, of their desperation. They're realizing that, numerous outlets now. I just heard where Newsweek, where Newsweek has published publishing information about Hunter Biden's laptop. New York Times, of course, came out a few days ago and did that. And we know that when they come out and do those type of things, as we talked about, this is a way for them to get in front of, and you say, well, what do you mean they get in front of it? Because that get in front of it means they publish these articles about something that they know is coming up, like a scandal, for example, like this laptop. They know what's coming up, and they put these articles out ahead of time. So when the real news comes out, the real scandal is exposed, they say, well, yeah, we already read this in the New York Times 7 times or 8 times. This is a non-issue, right? So it's a way of neutralizing, I guess you could say. It's a way of neutralizing the information, the truth, because you've put out 2 or 3 false stories, or where they may not be false necessarily, but they omit certain things that are very important. So what happens is when the general public, John Q. Public, starts reading the real stuff that comes out, they disregard it. We've already read about this already. Doesn't really mean much to us. It's a nothing burger, as one of their key terms they like to use. It's a nothing burger. Well, from what I'm understanding, this laptop from Biden is not a nothing burger. Now, of course, the problem always remains: where's the justice? That's the issue. Where is the justice? I think that we realize at this point. I think we have realized for quite some time, because most people didn't believe that the Hunter laptop was false. So, I think a lot of people, let's just put it that way, a lot of people realize that was probably true. When you have actual photos, there's photoshopping things, but that stuff wasn't photoshopped. He's a depraved individual, I think is the word that was used. Hello, everybody there on Facebook. I just brought up the Facebook post there. I see people are there chatting. Thank you very much. It's good to see you. We're having some connection issues with Facebook and people being able to see the show. I don't know why. It's because I'm moving back into the CPS stuff. Who knows? If if everything's a conspiracy, nothing's a conspiracy. But we're going to continue to broadcast and move forward. Look, we're just talking about the suspended Babylon Bee. The censorship is at its zenith. So they just don't want people waking up. They don't want people understanding that the enemy is, not the person across, the street from you that's got a different yard sign than you do. You may disagree with their ideology and what they stand for, which, that's okay. I'm sure there's people that don't agree with me. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there's a lot of them. And there's probably people that you don't agree with either. But that's okay, right? Because, healthy disagreement and healthy dialogue and banter back and forth, this is a good thing. This is how, things are solved. This is how problems get worked out, is through negotiations most of the time. No one likes to be a victim of an overlord. No one likes to be, commanded or demanded on what to do. So what it comes down to, folks, is one way or another, we're going to have to try to find a way to sort of bridge a gap with the people that we disagree with on the other side. And what we need to first do is I'm talking about people that are considered themselves conservatives or on the right, if you will. And the whole Republican Democrat thing is really a joke. I think either you're on Team America or you're not. I think it's what it comes down to these days. But for those of you on Team America, right, that are really fighting the battle and doing good work, we need to stop infighting amongst each other, right? We don't always have to agree. You don't always have to like the other person or even correspond with them or interact with them. Just try not to bash them. I mean, if they're doing something, that's heinous and just, off the charts or something, of course. But if you just disagree with their ideology, or you disagree with them on certain issues, or, you've told yourself a story about what they think about things or what you think about things, don't bash them, right? There's people in conservative, movement, I guess you could say, and some considered prominent that I don't really care for and don't agree with, but I don't sit there and bash them because we'll probably agree on 95% of everything, and that other 5%, we'll hash that out when we get done defeating communism. I'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back on the other side here on Critical Disclosure Radio, criticaldisclosure.com, criticaldisclosure.com. I'm just transitioning the website over and linking up some stuff, some videos. So it's just going to take a couple days to do that. But criticaldisclosure.com, northwestsurbanynews.com. We'll be back after these brief commercial messages. Today's broadcast is sponsored by Heaven's Harvest Emergency Survival Food. Folks, as you can probably tell from watching the news, there's about to be a real big food shortage in this country. The trucker strike across the world, especially here in the United States and Canada, is going to stop the food from flowing in here. There's no better time than right now to plant a garden for this spring. Spring is just around the corner, and you can save on shipping over at heavensharvest.com by going to heavensharvest.com and typing in Jim at checkout. Now, all you need to do is buy an heirloom seed vegetable kit or any food bucket and type in Jim at checkout, and you'll receive free shipping. Folks, don't wait. There's not much time left before the food supply is literally going to be shut down. We see this on the news every day. It's time to take your food security in your own hands. Do that by going to heavensharvest.com, picking up an heirloom vegetable seed kit, type in Jim at checkout. heavensharvest.com.
7K Metals is legacy. They help you leave a legacy for your family. Reasonable and affordable. Anyone can own gold and silver. It creates great generational wealth and residual passive income. No minimum or maximum order. 7K Metals has a Better Business Bureau A+ rating. It's about leaving a legacy for your family. It's about helping people. Now is the time to find out more information about protecting yourself. Call Carla at 406-855-2761. That's 406-855-2761. Today is a great time to buy gold and silver as a hedge against poor government decisions and potential economic collapse if history repeats itself. Take control of your financial future. Call Carla at 406-855-2761. 406-855-2761. Call now. 7K Metals and ask about your legacy.
PatriotPrepared.com carries the leading brands of storable food from Legacy and Heaven's Harvest. Patriot Prepared. Our name says it all. We're dedicated to empowering you to be self-reliant and confident in any circumstance. Whether you want to be prepared in the event of an emergency or you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, PatriotPrepared.com has prepackaged meals and kits for your entire family. Legacy, Heaven's Harvest are known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. Simple to prepare, easy to store, gluten-free and organic high-quality nutrition options with a 25-year shelf life. You can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. So go to PatriotPrepared.com right now to pick up your supply of high-quality storable food for your family, because it makes good sense to be prepared. That's PatriotPrepared.com.
Okay, folks, if you have not ordered any storable food or you don't have any storable food, check out what's going on over at PatriotPrepared.com. 25-year shelf life, non-GMO. You don't have to go there. Go to Costco or to go to some other warehouse, and you can pick up food supply there as well. It looks like our guest has been able to connect. So let's see if we can bring her on the broadcast. And we'll see how that goes. Hello? Lynn, are you there? Okay, so she's joining now. She's coming in from a library connection, so I'm not sure how good that's going to be. But we will have her on the show here as soon as she connects. She is connected now. Lynn Morgan, she's a family court crime victim. So I think she's there. And we'll ask her to start her video, and she's probably connecting the audio. Ask to unmute and see if we can get her on the broadcast. She is a victim of crime in the family court system there in Ohio, in Trumbull County. There we go. She's there. Lynn, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. You got that set up. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to pull it off, but bravo.
Yeah, she helped me.
Great. Tell her thank you. Tell her thank you. Bravo for pulling that off. That was good stuff. Good stuff. So you only missed if we just got done for the first commercial break, so we still have a lot of time left. So Lynn, thanks so much for being here today on the broadcast. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm gonna go ahead and grab these documents and get them ready. But in the meantime, why don't you go ahead and give us a background, Lynn? Just give us a general background on your case, just so everybody knows everybody's on the same page. Lynn Morgan, thanks for being here today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lynn Morgan. On court documents, it's under Carol Lynn Morgan. After suffering for over 18 years of domestic violence in a very torturous marriage, my eldest daughter asked me to leave the marriage and she would help me. And I went to Trumbull County, Ohio, to pick up a packet to fill out for a divorce. The court had actually put me into filing a dissolution, and they have a reason for doing that. You can always convert a dissolution to a divorce, but you can't convert a divorce to a dissolution. So when they talk you into filing a dissolution, you're going to call for many years suffering legal abuse. So what they first do is have a hearing. You're granted the dissolution. And then after that, the games begin. The first day I filed, my case was put on a special judge's project. That means it's an open door for all kinds of money, state and federal, to flow in. The special judge's project money is not accountable, not even to the Ohio Supreme Court. They don't count it. They don't care how much you spend from it. So people are buying boats and cars and homes with this special judge's project money. And you can even go online and Google it. What is special judge's project funding for the courts? It's supposed to be when there is some sort of rehabilitation needed or drug activity or something, which was not the case in my case. I was simply trying to escape with my children an abusive marriage. So I'm the mother of 6 children. I have no criminal history. I've never done a drug or drank alcohol in my life. I have no abuse. I have nothing against me whatsoever. Just I trusted a very corrupt system, and I did not know their system from the beginning. So as it turns out, 2 weeks after I was granted the dissolution, my ex-spouse hunted me and stalked me as I was picking up my daughter from her work in another county, in Mahoning County. And as you see there, I sent you the information where the police had a standoff with him. That would be Exhibit A, where he was armed with a machete. He would not get out of the car. He just was waiting for me to exit my vehicle to run up on me and chop off my head. And he was that angry. That's a dangerous situation, of course. And as you see in, I believe it is Exhibit I.
I'm still trying to get the documents open here, but I have them here on the screen. I just haven't linked to them yet. So okay. Go ahead. I have Exhibit N, and that's the top of the sheet that I have here. Let me try to get over here and bring these up real quick. See if I can. Okay, give me a second here if I can pop these up. But go ahead and keep talking. You're good.
Yes, okay. So I was granted a first 5-year civil protection order out of Mahoning County. And there were several more instances of abuse and harm to me and my children during those 5 years. And I unfortunately had to apply for another one. You will see in there where it says in number 2 that the respondent has committed child abuse against my son, and it names him there. He was 9 years old. His father punched him twice in the face in Sam's Club, causing injury to his jaw. After that, the ex-spouse had broken into my home while I was in the shower and attacked me while I was in my own shower. My children were pulling him off of me. The 3 younger, the minor children. He was in the process of raping me while they were trying to pull their dad off of their mother. My daughter started screaming. Unfortunately, when you're in the shower and the water's going, and it's a lot of blood, it's very frightening for children, and they should have never had to experience something like that.
Jeez.
I was granted, I'm sorry?
Jeez, sounds like something out of the Psycho movie or something. The movie
yes, and that's listed in the protection order. You can see it there. Yes, so it was very difficult to try to maintain safety with the help of Mahoning County. Trumbull County would not even put my protection order in my file. They falsely accused me of forum shopping. Well, when you have a protection order from one county, it's good all over the United States, actually. I could be in San Diego and my protection order is fully enforceable.
Sure.
So this wasn't just a magistrate who issued this. This was the head judge of the court as well, because they filed objections and the head judge said, absolutely not. There's too much evidence that he did these things. So this is not a preponderance of evidence. This has gone beyond clear and convincing into beyond reasonable doubt evidence. So his county then decides to retaliate, and 10 months later, his attorney, David Boker, who is married to Pamela Rentala, she was the longtime administrative judge. So she's the head judge of the court. Her and her husband use two different last names. He pulls in the clients and she puts them with her magistrates that she can direct to extract the most money out of whatever sucker they can get at that time. And mostly when you have a male or even a female that's very angry and very bitter in a divorce proceeding or dissolution, they use the courts as a weapon. Once you get the protection order and they can't come near of you, they have to figure out another way to hurt you. So they use the courts to do that. David Boker was not only the head judge's husband, and they used two different last names, as I said. He's also the chief prosecuting attorney over child support matters in Trumbull County, and he's also his own notary. So he would notarize his own court documents and make sure that any man that's an architect, a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, when they come into his court, he fixes the case so that the female will never get child support or any help. So there I was, a mother with 6 children. I was a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't allowed to work. I did have a job temporarily. I worked with a dentist for 13 years before I got married. During the marriage, I wanted to go back to work. I got a call, and I was told by Dr. Salarto to take the call in the lab where we make the dental appliances. And it was him. He said Children's Services and the police was on the door. And that was a long time ago in Miami, Florida. That was the first instance of child abuse against my 18-month-old son and my 4-year-old daughter. So I had to leave work. And of course, I wasn't allowed to return because I left 8 patients in the afternoon just hanging. So basically, that's what he wanted. He wanted me to stay home, just walking around, feeding babies, changing babies, washing laundry, doing the cooking, cleaning the floors. And I did. I didn't see the light of day for many, many, many years. And I was really honestly tired of being kicked in the face, punched in the face, my hair pulled. If I was too tired from being up nursing babies, which I had a newborn, less than a 2-year-old and less than a 4-year-old. And you ask, why would you have children with this individual? It wasn't my choice. And you can trust me on that. Especially the last 4, those children were not born out of a nice incident. I do love them, though. I love all of my children equally. They're all really beautiful, wonderful kids. Anybody who knows me here in Ohio, a lot of the Facebook friends know me and my children. They're really beautiful kids, and they don't deserve to be separated unlawfully from their mother simply because I reported the human bite marks on my children, which Exhibit N, you'll see that's the photo of the human bite marks that he left on my children. So
I'm going to go over there. You said Exhibit N?
Exhibit N, yes, that is the photos of the human bite marks. And then there is the hospital records that state reason for visit is child abuse and human bite marks. These aren't from an animal. This is from a human, their father.
Geez, this is, yeah, it's just the way that some people treat other people is just, it's disparaging. Okay, so looks like some of the documents upside down. There we go. Okay, so I'm at the right now. There we go, folks, on the video and the viewing, on the video portion there, you can see the bruises right there. Wow, that's like a black and white photo, and you can see the bruises pretty distinctly. That must be pretty. Well,
those are actually in color, so I will hold up the photos so that you can see them.
Yeah, so they came across in black and white here on the image.
I
wow!
Apologize.
Jeez, go ahead, do it again. I missed that. We missed that because I was on the other screen. Go ahead and hold those up again if you don't mind.
Sure.
Wow, that's some pretty.
Especially here, you can see the spacing between the teeth
Yeah.
And clearly he has, here, let me turn it this way. This would be the right way up. Clearly he has space, the dad has spaces between his teeth, and they measured the jaw in the hospital, and they measured his jawline. So Trumbull County gave no punishment so far.
You know what? I
for this.
apologize. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after these brief messages. I just lost track of time. This is the criticaldisclosure.com, criticaldisclosure.com. We'll be back after these. We got a network break, and then we got to take it. We'll be back after these brief messages. Okay, folks, welcome back to the show. This is Critical Disclosure Radio, criticaldisclosure.com, or northwestlibertynews.com. If you're from Montana and you're interested in Montana news, it's mostly Montana stuff. We broadcast here each weekday from 10 to 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on a variety of different networks. And yeah, we're hosted by Brighteon Radio, brighteonradio.com. That's brighteonradio.com. We are joined today by Lynn Morgan. She's a family court crime victim from Trumbull County, Ohio. And we've been going over some of her case here and helping her get that information out. And we have some documentation that she sent over we've been going through. Lynn, thanks so much for joining us here and hanging on after the break. We appreciate you being on the show today. Hold on, let me take you off mute. You might still be on mute here. Hold on. There we go. Is there a button there that asks you to unmute? There you go.
There we go.
Now you're back.
Thank you.
Thanks again for being here today. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Okay, I didn't mean to cut you off there. We were right in the middle of, I had a network break, and I those things I have no control over that. You were just holding up the bruising before we went to the break, and you can go ahead and pick that back up whenever you'd like to. You have the floor.
Sure. And this is an example of the hospital paper, and you can, I don't know if you can see
Now I may have that. Now hold on. No, when you put that in front of the camera and you talk, it totally blocks your voice. We can't hear you at all. So if you
okay.
probably best to just go ahead and tell us what it is, and then hold it up
Okay.
there, and then pull it, and then go ahead and pull it back. Go ahead. Over to you.
Sure. Okay. So this is the hospital record. There it says human bite mark and child abuse on the document.
Okay. Reason for visit: human bite. Do I have that
Yes.
documentation here on my sheet that you sent over?
Absolutely. Yes.
Where
So you
there it
have
is.
it
There it
there.
is. Got it right here. I just had brought it up here. Let me bring it up here, folks, for you. There it is right there. Reason for visit: human bite. Pediatric advisor: child abuse and neglect. Interesting. Okay. Sad. I mean that interesting. I mean, it's too bad.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So there is a police report where the father was charged with endangering children and endangering children with torture out of Vanna, Ohio. I was told by the police officer to take the children, and I believe you have his testimony there too. It's Exhibit N, page number 11 and 12. You will see Officer Scott Pringle is his name, and on page 12, he said, I did inform Miss Morgan about going to the doctor on spot to get all of that documented. And then he was trying to hint around telling me basically run away and get to safety. But then he actually ordered me to go to someplace safe. If you look at line 18, he says, I did recommend going to someplace safe. So he ordered me to take the children to go and seek safety until they arrested the father. That arrest never happened to the father. Instead, he and his cronies down in Trumbull County flipped the script, and they said, well, mom just took the kids and took off, so we need to put out an arrest warrant for her. I had to go through the court process, and I'm very thankful that Girard Municipal Court Judge Jeffrey Adler, by his own hand, dismissed everything. He said there isn't a jury in the world that would convict this mother for taking her children to safety. But it's unfathomable how the father bites them. There's hospital records, police records, an arrest warrant out for him, and nothing happens to him. It all falls to mom because she took them to the hospital and to a safe place. It's just absurd how a court, as long as he's paying them out of pocket, they're like parasites. They suck up his money and do whatever he wants. You can actually purchase the court, and that is
Oh
not
yeah.
justice.
Oh, yeah. You can purchase the court for sure. Sadly, but
Yes.
please continue.
We, the people, need to let the courts know that the courts belong to the people, to us. The courtroom belongs to the people. The bench belongs to the people. It's not a kingdom. There's no kings and queens there. These are public servants. And when they do not do their judicial duty and their fiduciary duty, we need to hold them accountable. So they make it very difficult to pierce that veil of immunity. Well, there's no immunity when these people are acting outside the scope of their court-related duties and responsibilities and doing it under color of law. There is a lot of case law, Rankin versus Howard, Shure versus, you can go on and on and on. And the worst thing that I would say that happened in my case, 10 months after I was granted the dissolution, and after the ex-spouse tried to murder me in front of my children, his attorney, David Boker, met with Magistrate Anthony Nadel. And if you'll look at, let me see which exhibit is here. I believe, this one's going to blow you away. Here we have D, I'm sorry. If you look at Exhibit D, this one is the most important of all we're going to talk about. There is an affidavit She is Vicki Willard out of Independence, Ohio. She is a board certified forensic document examiner. She's a handwriting expert, but to the highest level. She wrote an affidavit and has it notarized, and she put her qualifications, and in one of the pages, you will see the actual court document. So I will hold that up and I'll be quiet for a minute and I'll show you which one it is. It's a handwritten journal entry. That's an actual handwritten journal entry. The magistrate who allegedly held a hearing, his signature is not even on the document, which is a requirement by law, or it's not a valid document. There's no Anthony Nadel signature on that document. So my handwriting expert interposed the signatures on that document. If you look to the left side of the document, I sent it to you, you'll see two signatures at the bottom. David Boker signature is there, and a felony forgery of my attorney's signature. So I'm going to hold up what is called Exhibit B, and I'll show you the three signatures. The bottom one is my attorney in cases from Mahoning County. What the handwriting expert does is she gathers like 50.
You don't need to hold it up, by the way. I've got it right here on the screen. So go ahead. I have it right here. Disputed. It says disputed signature, specimen signature, and then court case filing. I have it right here on the screen. So go ahead. You can continue talking.
Yes. Okay. So if you look at the top of the page, it starts on the previous page. She says the signature of Mark I. Verklin, and then go to the page where the signatures are. On the docket journal entry was not written by the same individual who signed that name on the documents, the court document. So if you look at the bottom signature, that's out of 50 random cases out of Mahoning County. The middle signature is my attorney out of 50 random cases from Trumbull County. The top signature is a felony forgery. That's not his signature. And that's plainly evident.
Yeah, you can tell it's not the same.
Absolutely. So here we have court officials not holding a hearing. They hold just some kind of a backdoor deal where they decided they were going to take my rights by way of felony forgery. When I brought that to the court's attention and when I exposed what they did, they had this, they conjured up a plan. How can you hurt a good mother that has no record, has nothing against her whatsoever? What do you go after? You go after her children.
That's right.
That's what they did.
That's right. That's what they do. Yep.
Yes. 2 weeks after I get the protection order from Mahoning County, they drag me into Trumbull County on 3 phony motions of contempt that the father didn't get enough visits. I said, well, you're the one that suspended father's visitation for the bite marks and the abuse that he's doing. And they said, okay. And they dismissed all 3 of those phony contempt motions. And I didn't see ex-spouse in the room. There's only the judge, the guardian ad litem, and his attorney. They were telling me that if I decided to find their document, I would voluntarily dismiss my protection order, there wouldn't be a need for a custody trial. Well, they didn't realize it, but I had my phone with me and I turned on my phone and I caught it all. So I actually have a disc of them threatening me and trying to coerce me under duress to voluntarily dismiss my protection order.
Those are felonies, by the way. You can't that I believe that rises to the level of a felony, especially if it's performed by a quote unquote public official. They have a little bit higher standard with that. But anyway, the problem is finding someone to. It's always been the problem. Is where's the justice? Finding someone to put these chumps behind bars. That's the problem. No one does. And that
Right.
Therein lies the battle that we have moving forward. Is these people that are committing these crimes, and they're everywhere. We just have to find someone that's willing to lock them up, and that needs to be the sheriff. That really does need to be the sheriff, but that's another probably show, another different show. Sorry to cut you off. Please continue.
No, it's okay, because you have a point there. After I had the court make me a proper transcript, a certified transcript of what was on my phone, it clearly states that if all goes well, we wouldn't need a custody trial, but go ahead and set it for a later date. And I told them I cannot. The 2 judges in Mahoney County said, do not dismiss the protection order. It's a trick. So I didn't. They actually called up the sheriff, and they had the sheriff woman pulling me down the steps, and she slap punched me through the front doors of Trumbull County Family Court and told me I wasn't allowed back in. That's all on the recording, and it's in the transcripts that I have. They started a full day custody trial without me there. And then in the transcripts, they didn't even bother turning off the recording. They conspired together to decide, can we end this today and we don't need testimony because we have enough, we're going to take the kids from her. So pages 260 to 269 proves an absolute complete conspiracy to deprive me of my rights. In fact, the magistrate, Raymond DeLost, said that the guardian ad litem, Charles Dray, he was not to allow me to have a copy of his report, because then I could cross-examine him. In the transcripts, Charles Dray asked the court, so do you want me to change my report? And the magistrate said, yes, I want it changed. So now you have a guardian ad litem's report that he sends to the court, that's his truth, his finding. Now all of a sudden the magistrate wants him to change his report to accommodate giving the father custody. So he said, I am willing to change my report, Your Honor. And what happened was he said, shall I give a copy to Miss Morgan? And the magistrate said, no, we do not want her to have a potential knowing. And that is actually in the transcripts. I mean, how stupid can you be? You're supposed to turn off the recording when you're conspiring to take my rights and not give me the potential knowing, but it's there.
Well, these people are so brazen, Lynn, they're so brazen because, again, they got the whole thing wrapped up. I mean, the sheriff is cousins with the county clerk, who's married to the brother of the judge, this is how this rolls. This is how they operate. So to get any justice, you may have to go federal, but that's not even saying that, I've got spoken to plenty of parents where the federal authorities were in on it too, in some cases. Now, that's not saying that they're all bad. Of course, we don't want to paint that wide brush across them all, but it's difficult to get justice these days, even in the federal system. Have you thought about going federal against them? Because if you try to keep things inside that circle of corruption, you're never going to get any satisfaction, because they're just going to bury it. They're not going to charge it. They're going to block your information. They're just going to, throw it out of court. Any thoughts about maybe taking it to the next level?
Okay, thank you for asking me that. Yes, I did. So what I did is I got in the car and drove the hour and a half up to Cleveland and went to the FBI, rang the buzzer, and they said for me to fill out why I was there. And I'm going to advise people, when you go to the FBI to make a report of what's going on in your case, the fraud, the corruption, whatnot, do not tell them, I'm here because the family court judge said this, this, and this. That's a state matter. State and federal are 2 different sovereigns. So what you have to do is you have to go to them and tell them there is public corruption. That is federal. That'll get you in the door. I got in the door. I showed them everything that was happening in my case. They sent me to the local office in Boardman, where I live. As a lot of people know, Youngstown was considered like the mafia capital there for a while. They were actually blowing up federal judges' cars and killing the judges in Youngstown, Ohio, some time ago in the early 80s. So we do have an FBI office there. I went inside with all of the proof you could imagine. The FBI agent Hayes, looked at me as I sat with him and another agent, and he said, you know, the names you're throwing out here, I do know these people. You understand that. A lot of them are my friends.
Nice.
At that point, I told him, Agent Hayes, you have a responsibility to handle this public corruption. I don't know if he did anything or if he spoke with anyone, but I did notice that Pamela Rintala retired from her position as head judge in Trumbull County 4 months later. That's all I can say about that. I did contact former state senator Joe Schiavone. He was very, very helpful, very interested in how this all played out. And he actually got Magistrate Anthony Nadel off the bench for me. He has tried to help me get an attorney, but now he's a judge. So he's got to, you know, be separate from things so that there's no bias or, you know, partisanship. And I don't want him to have any trouble, but he's a very good man, was very helpful, saw the corruption and the fraud, and he did remove Magistrate Anthony Nadel. That's why he was off my case. And then Raymond DeLost came on the case. Now, as for the federal court, I had properly made a federal filing. I can give you the case number to the federal filing that I did. I gave them proof of the felony forgery, everything. What they do is your case doesn't go to a judge to view. It goes to their clerk of courts. And that's one thing that is very, very dangerous for all of us families. The clerk of courts is the gates of hell. They can either put your case through and stamp it, or they can either stamp it and toss it aside and the judge never sees it for years, or they can vet your case and tell you this is not a case that we handle and hand you your paperwork back. The clerk of the courts are the gatekeepers. So a lot of lawyers can go in and schmooze these female clerk of courts and they'll get favors done for them and get a court date right away. Or in my case, they vetted my information and they did not want it to get out to the public that there's a forgery from an attorney and a magistrate on an official court document. So Judge Benita Pearson, her name is on the document. They tried to kick it out on the Rooker-Feldman doctrine, on, oh, we don't have jurisdiction, res judicata. I'm sorry, folks, but where there's felony forgery and fraud, there is no res judicata. The case is Alcock versus Alcock. It will show you that whenever there's fraud going on or corruption, you don't get immunity or res judicata. So I took my case then and appealed it to Cincinnati. They also didn't want all the proof of this out. They just simply dismissed it on a one-page piece of paper. So the federal courts are in on it too. They cover for little brother down in the lower court.
Shocked. I'm shocked. So you could get to a point where there's really nowhere to turn for justice because every avenue that you've turned. Go ahead.
Sorry. What I did then, since they said that it's, not their jurisdiction, I filed a state court claim in Trumbull County, case number 2020 CV704. Anybody can look that up. They can see all the information is there, the felony forgery, the case law, everything. So if you see the federal rules of civil procedure and Ohio rules of civil procedure, Rule 8, when you file a complaint, all you have to do is make a statement of what happened in the case. And then through pleadings and depositions and whatnot, the case can either be worked out or it goes to trial. So I filed my state court claim and it went to Judge Ronald J. Rice in Trumbull County. Full information, all the exhibits, I'm talking 2-inch stacks of exhibits of what these people have done and what they've said on record, proof of the felony forgery, everything. My case was set for a jury trial to begin on August 23rd, 2021. I finally went over all their roadblocks and got a jury trial on the docket set for August 23, 2021. A couple weeks before the trial was to begin by jury, I asked to certify the documents. At that point, everybody got immunity and the last three got summary judgment. Why? Because once you file a state court claim and it's set for a jury trial and you think you're going to get your justice, when you ask to certify the exhibits, they'll shut your case down. People go into court and they don't ask to certify the exhibits, you can't use them. So I would have walked into another trap. Here's a jury trial, just hearing my words.
Lynn, I apologize that we only got 1 minute left here on the broadcast. We're just, I know that we got off late. Sorry about that, but we've only got so much time. So anything you'd like to say in closing? Here's any websites you'd like to give out before we let you go, or how people can find out more.
Well, actually, I really am interested in helping moms and dads when they're going through this process with case law, with constitutional law. I have never charged anyone a penny. Everyone that knows me, I help them. I'm just here to help the people. So you can reach me at morgansheart88@gmail.com. And I will do all I can to help.
morgansheart88@gmail.com. We're just out of time. Criticaldisclosure.com, northwestlibertynews.com. Folks, we appreciate you looking in here on the broadcast. And for my guest, Lynn Morgan, thank her for being here. Until next time, this is James White for Critical Disclosure Radio, saying bye now.
Thank you.